Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hi. We're here. We're starting the stream. The final stream of us playing this alpha build of Godhood while the Kickstarter campaign is still going. Hey everybody, hey everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining us today for this final stream. We got something to show off here. So, Yoni promised that now that we have run a wildly successful Kickstarter, the first purchase that he would make would be his own plane. And that's what we're going to be doing today while we're streaming. Yoni will finish up his plane. So while I'm playing, hey, I want to see my, yeah. while I'm playing Godhood, Yoni, we're going to check in every once in a while. We're going to see how Yoni's plane is doing.
Right.
Yesterday you got me and Yoni at our most hype, at our most energetic. But today we're gonna be a little bit more chill. It's for a couple of reasons. One, we're absolutely exhausted from running this Kickstarter. And two, we're gonna create a peace religion today. And to create a peace religion, you need to be a little bit chill. Much more so than a war religion, anyway. So I have a save game already that is a little bit further into the game so that we can get to some of the more late game mechanics when it comes to being a peace religion. But I figured we'd start the stream by starting off a new religion, since we didn't get to do that last stream. So let's work together here, chat, and let's build ourselves a new god. A peaceful god this time, and maybe one that isn't all about turtles. What are you thinking? What are we thinking for our look here out of the 4 options? Probably shouldn't go with the question mark one. That's really boring. Oh, I think something with wolves. I like wolves. I like Kanye. Actually, I don't like Kanye anymore, but I used to.
What does Kanye has to do with wolves?
Gotta fix wolves.
Fix wolves?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
That's fine. Snake. Snake. I like snake. You know, when you look at this red snake dragon, you think war, but we're gonna subvert divine expectations, and we're gonna make a peace snake. Peace pipe. How are we gonna be called? What should our worshippers address us as? We could go for something snaky. We had a turtle last time, so some other... It's not a lizard, but... Slithers... Serenity. Oh god, we got some... Like that.
Serpents. Serpents sounds nice.
Serpents?
It's sort of a play on servants.
But that should be our followers, right? Our followers are serpents.
Yeah?
Just like...
Oh, we're naming the religion?
Yeah. We're gonna start by naming our religion. But our worshippers are called serpents.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I love the Netflix exclusive series Riverdale.
What?
Shoutouts to all my Riverdale fans out there. Shoutouts to my serpents. Gandhi. Lots of Gandhi being called out here.
Why?
I don't know. Gandhi's peaceful, I suppose, but he wasn't much of a snake.
No.
Can we make a snake pun with Gandhi?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go for Serenity. It's a little vanilla, but you know, we can roll vanilla.
Can we do serpenity?
Sir, why?
Serpent is a snake.
Ooh, serpentity. That sure is something. And a serpentine, I like that too. What is our religion called? The Snake Way. Thanks for the audio there. Well, you know, Yoni has to build Legos while we're streaming, so let's pick a cool color. Red kind of fits our whole look. Let it be known, we are Serpentity. The world is populated by many rivaling gods. One tribal member was destined to become the first prophet of the Snake Way. So
Last one, last bag.
Okay, last bag, guys. We're almost done,
Okay, we're done.
with the with our ASMR. From nothing, Serpentity appeared to Carmana. A new time would come. Carmana and all her descendants would be blessed by Serpentity. First, Serpentity commanded Carmana what is right. So last time we decided to wage war, but this time we will spread peace and live long in my name. Our name, because we're all Serpentity over here. Carmana began to spread the message of Serpentity and the boon of peace. Some converted to the Snake Way and became serpents. However, the elders who worshipped the ancestors thought this idea to be dangerous. Those wily elders, I remember you. This will only lead to weakness and demise. They could not see how they were wrong in opposing Serpentity. A sacrament was called to determine who is right. Let the sacrament begin.
Pom, pom, pom.
Yeah, even though we are a peaceful religion, we do have two
Engage.
melee.
Yeah, but
Fighters.
Is there no... So how are you gonna handle that in a peaceful way?
Well, I mean, sometimes to show that you need peace, the best way to show that is a necessity is to beat someone over the head to convince them that is so. No, so there are actually things that we're working on to make that make a little bit more sense. I'll get into that in just a minute, because first, if this is your first stream, hello, thanks for joining us. Or if you're watching a recording of this, this is Godhood, and we are a young tribal god leading our very own tribe. Oh god, who just got completely demolished by the elders. And our disciples are our strongest worshippers, and they will actually, they just performed the sacrament in which they perform a ritual conflict, and if they win, they prove that we, as Serpentity the god, are greater than the elders, the ancestors that the elders worship. However, it was not yet time. Serpentity needed to test Carmana's faith. The elders were resolute in their judgment. Carmana and a few followers were banished from the old city. Before leaving, Carmana prophesied that one day Serpentity would bring eternal peace to the old city. Let's do it. Serpentity finally spoke to Carmana again, and we've made our little holy ground. This will be Serpentity's holy site. It will flourish and be the center of the world. From here on, Carmana and a few disciples could develop and plot to convert the old city and spread the Snake Way all over the world. So now that we've created our god, and we have created our own little sect here, this is our little holy site. I'm not going to go over all the details again that we did in the previous two streams. If this is the first time you're seeing Godhood being played, I highly recommend you check out one of our previous streams, because I'm just going to launch into it here.
There's a question from
yes.
chat about losing your first fight.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah, you always lose the first fight. This is the classic, like, Final Fantasy, getting your ass handed to you in the first battle. And it's also part of your origin story, because, you know, a lot of religions actually are created by, like, splintering or changing of opinions or things like that. So we kind of wanted to reflect that a little bit in how you start the game, which is, you know, you're a tiny little tribe, essentially, that sort of splinters off from this greater collective and then works to prove that they were right all along. Yeah, so we're playing a little peaceful religion, but before we can gain all the benefits of being peaceful, before we can gain our God commandment, as it is called, we will need to complete our quest. The quest being, your people just want to get along. Convince the bloodthirsty elders of your ways to gain the pacifist commandment. So yeah, we need to convince these elders that being peaceful is the way to go. I'm going to inspire Elo, my disciple here, to rest up on these in these gardens, because his spirit is incredibly low from fighting the elders before, and he happily obliges. Yeah, he's gonna continue doing that.
See, the chat is not really in the peaceful mode.
Oh yeah, no, we guys, let's calm ourselves. Let's collect ourselves and let's chill. You know, we're making Legos. We're spreading peace. Let's customize our first disciple. This is Karmana, the prophet. But we can do something. We can make her into something much cooler. What are we thinking, everybody? What should our prophet be called? Something snaky, I hope. Celine. I like Celine. Celine's just like a good, powerful name. I kind of like her whole look, to be honest. But I might give her some hair. I like this. I kind of just... I have to change her a little bit, considering that... You know, we want to show off our creation, our customization. Celine's done. I saw someone say Serpentina, which I liked, so I'm going to make Zoo here. Serpentina. She is our most powerful combatant, as she is a Rage Prophet, the class that is most skilled in melee combat. Give her a big pointy head, big eyebrows, different kind of mouth, and some badass short hair. Let's make it... Let's give her some wild hair color. And a more snaky... This looks great. She looks real snaky now. So... In this game I want to focus on... the last game that we played, I focused a lot on using melee disciples to try and get the job done. But in this one I want to try and focus a little bit more. We have a druid this time, which we did in last stream. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on getting them leveled up and using their abilities as well. So I will send Celine... let's see, would that be good? Over to the Holy Grounds to develop her skills. If you'll see, in the Holy Grounds, one of the rewards is 25% progress on learning a new ability. And I want to show off some of those druid abilities, so let's get that done. And hopefully we can gain some more druids and maybe some weavers later in the game as well. Meanwhile, Serpentina can work on gathering up some more worshippers, some more serpents, if you will, by going to the village center and rousing other local tribes. She's going to produce a single serpent each day. And if we have enough worshippers, if you'll remember, that is what levels up our god level. And the higher our god level, the more powerful our religion. And I'm going to tell Ate to do the same. At this point, everyone's faith is really high, because we just started out the game, and they're really excited about our new religion. So they're all basically going to listen to my inspirations. Oh, some people are having trouble with the stream. I hope you can all enjoy the stream.
Yeah, it's still going here.
Okay, great. Then I'll just keep going. Serpentina is chanting Serpentity's name in glory. Yeah, so we can choose to bless her and increase her faith a little bit, or we can gain some Mystica, which I think I'll do that. I can use Mystica as one of the resources to... We showed this off a little bit in yesterday's stream. I can use Mystica to actually upgrade our different rituals on the holy site. The Snake Way grew. It is now a spiritual circle, and our religion HP increased. That's great. Celine gained an ability point, and so did Elo. So Celine, how about... Let's see, we could make Celine a attacker, or more of a... Yeah, that seems like she's got a lot of devotion, which is the defensive stat, so it might actually be good to teach her the defy skill, which she can use to defend enemy morale attacks with her devotion stat. On the other hand, because the elders are going to be primarily warlike in this game, we should prepare a little bit of physical defense as well, in order to make sure that we can withstand those pesky elders. High knowledge and charisma. So Elo here, with his high charisma, sounds like he would make for a perfect morale attacker, where he will use his morale attack abilities to convince the enemy that serpentity is the rightful religion. Celine. Serpentina almost has the warden background. So I'm clicking around a little bit too quickly here. If you remember, every background that a disciple gains means that they will get a little package of benefits, including stat increases. And Selina's stats are pretty low. She's a pretty low level disciple. So let's send her over here so she can gain the warden background. And there she goes. Now we are going to have to perform another sacrament here pretty soon, which will also be the quickest way for us to convert an enemy tribe and gain more worshippers and thus level up. So let's take a look at the map here. The map is randomly generated every time you play, so we got a different world map here. The world map is really small in the current build, because, you know, there isn't that much content yet. It's a pretty small little game. But in the final game you can expect the world map to be much bigger and support many hours of play. The old city, our quest, is over here. That's where the war-loving elders live. In order to get there, we're going to have to go past these unguided druids. And to our west, we have a Chikutul, the Forsaken Past, which are a little bit more difficult than these unguided druids. So I might have to think about seeing if I can take them out at some point. Take them out? Of course, I mean peacefully convert them to the rightful path of Serpentor, or whatever we call ourselves. Serpentina and Ate want to be in a sacrament, so yeah, I'm gonna be in a sacrament pretty soon here. Yesterday, I noticed someone in chat, I didn't answer at the time, asking what these little red arrows meant. So what we have over here, this little diamond, that is your disciple's current faith. So, yeah, the tooltips are broken, but Ate's faith is essentially on the positive side of neutral. He's like, yeah, you know, the snake way is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy to believe in I completely blanked on that. What's her name? I completely blanked. So many snake words. Oh yeah, serpentity. Got it. Serenity. And this little red arrow means that he is actually in the process of losing faith. So we kind of want to pay a little bit more attention to Ate and Serpentina. And make sure that we hear their prayers or bless them if that opportunity comes up. Let's see if it does here. Serpentina could use some more abilities. So I want to actually... Serpentina is a melee fighter, but like I said, because we are a peace religion, we are going to have some trouble actually in the sacrament against warlike tribes, because they are going to be using a lot of melee attacks. We actually do want to get Serpentina, our rage prophet, leveled up a little bit, so she learns some defensive abilities, so that she may protect our other disciples while they work to convince the enemy. Celine is chanting Serpentity's name. I will bless her. She's been doing good work. Elo's got an ability point. We were making Elo our more offensive speaker type, if you will. So let's continue along that route. And I will give Celine I will work on getting her a second prophet background. Yeah, my glory is fading. So I'm going to go on a mission. And the unguided druids are a little bit easier. And they are actually on the way towards the old city. So let's go and convert these unguided druids. Send everybody. Let's start with the stone tribe. Going to send in Celine, who will use her defy skill to protect everyone from these condemn abilities. I will.
Someone in chat, Morticons, is asking that, or is saying that they will love this game. Thank you.
Thank you.
But if we are concerned that some people may find it repetitive.
Right. So what we have here, the build that we're playing, is incredibly early alpha, and so like I think 3 streams is about the maximum amount of streams we could do before we start kind of running out of content. And you know, that makes some sense, because content in game development is usually one of the last things you build. You know, first you build all the gameplay systems that support the sort of loop that you want to have, that you want to play through, and then you start filling that in with, you know, different enemy tribes and enemy religions and things like that. This build is, you know, pretty lacking in content. I'm not. It's not that weird to say. And so that's going to lead to a little bit more repetitive gameplay. However, in the final game, we are there's going to be a bunch of different things that are going to make it so that every game you play is going to be a lot different. For one, the different commandments that you select are actually going to add a lot of different gameplay verbs, so like new stuff that you can do. And I didn't get to show this off last stream, but because we were a war religion, we actually unlocked a special action, which is the Holy Raid, which whenever we send our disciples on a mission, like we're doing right here, we can actually organize a Holy Raid to like steal resources and things like that. And there's like a little mechanic involved in that as well. And just like that, like every commandment that you take has a little sort of bonus mechanic for you to play with. In addition to that, there are going to be random events that will trigger that sort of ask your religion to deal with specific, like a crisis maybe, or something that an enemy god or religion that has sort of declared war on you, and now you have to sort of face off with them. Sometimes you might have to, say you're a greedy god, you might have to worry about collecting lots of gold in order to upkeep the faith of your disciples, because at that point their faith is really based on like, okay, but how much material worth are we gathering? So if you are a greedy god, suddenly the gameplay dynamics kind of shift a little bit. And we are like working on a ton of different things to sort of make sure that every single game of Godhood that you play is really different. On the disciple level, we currently in this build have 4 classes in this build. One of which is super work in progress, which is the hunter, which we're gonna drop, or we have dropped actually in the latest build in the office. But we are looking to have 8 disciple classes, 10 if we manage to get to the stretch goal. We'll see how that goes. So that's already a ton more different classes that all have their own unique abilities to level up. In this current build, you can only unlock 4 abilities per disciple, but every disciple class will have a much larger range of unique abilities. Every commandment that you unlock actually also unlocks unique disciple abilities, which is really cool. So if you are a war religion, your rage prophets will actually unlock special war abilities as well. If you are a greed religion, your druids or weavers might actually convince the enemy that they are better by throwing gold at them in the middle of the sacrament. So yeah, I hope there's a lot to talk about when it comes to like different games of Godhood playing differently. But you know, I hope I can I hope that answered your question, and I hope I gave you at least a little bit of a taste of all the cool stuff that is there. I recommend you take a look at the Kickstarter and actually look at some of the updates, specifically the ones that talk about the different commandments. Meanwhile, this sacrament here, this is pretty tough, but I might pull it out here because I got 3 attacks coming in. That's defended, that's not great. Those big melee hits though, for a peaceful religion, we sure convinced them by stabbing them in the gut with a knife.
Do you know what's also pretty tough?
What?
It's building a Lego. I'm missing a piece.
You're missing a piece already?
It's horrible.
It's been literally not even, it's been like half an hour.
Good lord.
Oh yeah, so a thing that I wanted, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
A thing that I wanted to talk about earlier is, you will note that we just, I'll hold that off for a minute. Let's worry about this event that just popped up. The First Hunger. We got this because we leveled up our god level by converting a number of new worshippers. When the holy city grew in followers, the First Hunger emerged. The fruits were not growing fast enough to feed the serpents. Mad by hunger, they complained to Star. That's a bug. Has Serpentity already forsaken us? Star called the crowd and spoke the word of Serpentity. So yeah, now we get to decide a piece of our religion. Because it's not just the commandments that allow you to define what your religion is like. It's also these little events that pop up every once in a while. So, we now get to decide where do our worshippers find their food. Animals, I'm getting. Pasture. Sadly, no plane cam. Although, Yoni, could you give us a little checkup?
What?
Could you show us your sweet plane? Yeah. Farming, please. Show the giant farm. Vegetable garden seeds. Farming seems great for peace. Farming. Yeah, we're going farming.
So this is how far I've got.
Let's see. This is how far Yoni got in half an hour. Is this little man.
And the bottom.
And that looks more like a boat to me, but...
Yeah. Could still turn it into a boat.
Yeah, maybe you'll settle for a boat with all this this Kickstarter money that we raked in. Like, take these seeds and spread it in the ground. Serpentity will bless the ground, and food will grow. This is going to create the farm. The serpents saw wisdom in this. From this day on, they respected the farmers as a divine calling that would serve Serpentity and bring forth more devotees with bountiful food. So now we can actually create or inspire the creation of some farmlands. Where will I place them? Let's place them over here. There we go. We'll start constructing that tomorrow. But first, let's inspire Ate to heal up his incredibly low spirit bar. Give Ate a new ability. Wow. So this is a fun little thing to look at actually. Every disciple that you get actually has a certain potential. So when they level up, they gain stat increases, and some disciples just aren't as talented as others, or you know, they're just not as good in the sacrament as some others may be. And that means that they'll have a lower potential, which means that if we were to fully level up this disciple, his average stats would probably be a little bit lower than maybe Celine's, whose potential is very good. But that's totally fine. we can still... Ate can still serve us by performing rituals and generating resources and things like that. Serpentina is going to construct our new farm. There she goes. Yeah, so what I got interrupted by talking about last time was about the whole situation where we just stabbed a man to prove that peace was right. We are right now, like today, we've been building, working on developing a system that actually allows you to dedicate the sacrament to one of your commandments. So at the start of the sacrament you might say, this will be a sacrament for peace, in case of being, if you're a peaceful god. And by doing so, you actually determine some of the parameters of the sacrament. So if you say, we dedicate a sacrament to peace, it will mean that none of your disciples will allow themselves to use aggressive abilities. And if you say, dedicate a sacrament to generosity, they might, you know, add an ability to their ability wheel where they sometimes, instead of attacking, they'll actually give the enemy some of your goods, which, you know, does convince them of your cause, but, you know, it's the generous thing to do. So for those of you that are worried about stabbing your enemies in the name of peace, that is something that we are taking into consideration. Hey, it's our farmlands, look at them. There goes Ate. He's decided of his own accord to go farming. Or whatever he's doing. So the farmlands give us a new background, the farmer, which gives some health and some might. So that would be really good actually for our melee fighters. And it will also generate devotees, which we can use to upgrade. Yeah, if we have 10 devotees, we can upgrade our little village center. So let's get Serpentina actually, who I am grooming to be the melee defender of our religion. Let's get her to become a farmer. Ate, your spirit needs to heal up a little bit more. See our little villagers actually go farm. The farmlands is one of the facilities that already has their animations, its animations developed. Celine gained an ability point, which is really good. Elo, you can work on gathering more serpents. So there we go. We have leveled up. And the first for spirituality happens. As the snake way expands, a few serpents start to thirst for a closer connection to serpentity. They ask Star what to do to practice their faith. Star says that discipleship is not for everyone. However, there is a way to bring yourself closer to serpentity. So, we can choose. How will our worshippers get closer to us? How will they show their faith? Will they pray to serpentity every day? Will they meditate? Or will they praise serpentities in stories? And if you remember, last game we had the storyteller, so let's pick something else here. Meditate. I got a lot of... Yeah, let's meditate. There's a lot of people saying to meditate on the birds, the trees, and the four truths of the world. Serpentity will answer. This will give our disciples the hermit background, which grants them knowledge and devotion, which is actually really good for our current playstyle. The serpents saw wisdom in this. From this day on, they respected the hermit as the one who is in tune with the truth and seeks serpentity. Okay. So let's inspire the creation of our little hermit cove, our little meditation zone. Let's go over here. The disciples' name in this run, I don't know, yeah. Serpents, yeah, you got it. Celine is now a prophet for a second time. Ate got another ability. Yeah, we're actually doing pretty okay here. Celine is also going to gather worshippers. So we are about 40 minutes into the run. We can sort of start thinking now about either facing down the elders or loading up a later save. Elo is praising Serpentity in the village center. We could use some devotees to do that upgrade. So I will take those. Our disciples are just happily doing their work. I could buy this upgrade to give charisma to all my wardens. That actually sounds great, considering that charisma is the primary attack stat for speaking abilities. Sorry, what was that, Yoni?
Morale attacks.
Morale attacks, yeah.
Trying to be smart.
Oh, I should have inspired someone to construct our little meditation area. Hey, Serpentina's a farmer. Good job. And she's leveled up. So she will gain some health and some might. Yeah, everybody wants a sacrament, so we can probably get another sacrament in before we load up another save. Teach you the nightmare skill. Let's see if we can get that meditation area built before the next sacrament. Good girl, Celine. Yeah, Celine. I'm kind of done with Celine for now. She has 3 backgrounds. I need to think about. Serpentina's doing pretty good. Elo is kind of lacking. So Elo, I'm going to make sure they get the warden background. Yeah, our glory is starting to fade. We'll have to do a sacrament very, very soon. Ate, stop building. Keep going, Ate. Let's make sure we can get some meditation in. Hey, and he's finished. There it is, our little meditation area. We're starting a nice little, like, rural holy site. I like it. So a cool thing that we are working on right now as well is you'll actually see that the moment that this was built, immediately all these little buildings popped up. What we're working on right now is gradual development of your districts. So this is a single district, and how it works now is that as your religion grows, your little worshippers will actually like take their little hammers and they will start constructing houses depending on how many people live in the holy site. And when you level up really high, they will actually tear down these little wooden huts and they'll start putting up little stone buildings like these. And Marlies has even been working on some even higher tier buildings. So as you progress in the game, your holy site is going to start looking more and more like an actual temple site and less tribal. And it will start to reflect your commandments more and more as well. I honestly doubt we can take out the elders. But I say we try anyway. Because what is a Godhood stream without getting our asses handed to us by some old folks?
Good question. In the meantime, I have found the missing piece.
Wow.
It took me like
20
minutes.
I am in suspense at your progress.
Oh,
melee fighters would be... Oof. We have 2 opponents here that are blocking. This stubborn elder is blocking melee attacks, and this one is blocking morale attacks. So I'm gonna face some tough opposition no matter which way I decide to go. I should probably focus on one over the other. So I'm gonna try and focus on melee, morale attacks. Let's do it. Fingers crossed. Thanks, Kraton. Yeah, we are planning to, even throughout development, doing a lot of updates and hopefully streams as well of the different builds that we are developing, so that throughout development, up until and during early access, we can actually show you how Godhood is progressing. We're really excited about that, to share that with you, our backers and fans. Meanwhile, the Snake Way is, oh god. Serpentina's nervous. That was a critical hit. That was good. If we can survive this round with this big raging strike, then we might actually be okay. That targeted the disciple that I really didn't want it to target. And since Celine is deciding to perform a defensive ability, I think our chances here are slim. Oh, yeah, as I thought. We got Kraton asking us, which is your favorite commandment? I personally really like how charity is turning out, because that basically turns your worshippers into cute little hippies that do a lot of community cooking together, which I think is just great. What's yours, Joni? It's a difficult question.
Yeah. It's probably the opposite one.
It's greed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Says the man that is just finishing up building a plane, finishing up an enormously successful Kickstarter campaign. All right. I'm going to load up a game that I started playing this afternoon, and the save called About to Elders 3.
It's almost like a cooking show, right?
What?
In which we've already prepared the food.
Yeah, exactly. First I'm gonna talk about the ingredients, and I'm gonna walk over here, and I'm already done. It's
already done.
So here we are. This is our different holy site, and as it turns out, I actually ended up selecting the same religious sites, buildings, the farmlands, and the meditation site, as we did in our previous game that we were playing. I have a ton of disciples, more than I need, honestly. And I am ready to face the elders.
Are you ready?
In this one I am.
Alright.
I have some really interesting disciples set up here. So I have, I'll quickly run through my squad. I have Isma, the Rage Prophet, who I have taught the block ability. So they are really good at defending the physical attacks of my enemies. And the Ancestral Strike skill, which deals ancestral damage. So if I ever come up against an enemy that is weak to ancestral damage, I inspire Isma to use that skill. I have Kim, who has the Entangle skill, which is really neat. It actually targets the disciple on the other side of, like, directly across from Kim, and it lowers that disciple's fighting stats, specifically his melee stats. So Kim is really good at going up against enemy melee users. Michi here is our typical weaver with the Nightmare spell, and Huani is a defensive druid that I've taught the block skill as well, so that they can also defend against melee attackers. and the Miracle of Bloom, which is a nature-based morale attack that is based off her knowledge stat, with which I have worked to increase. So this squad is really set up to deal with enemy melee fighters, which the elders happen to be. So I'm going to tell Kim to entangle here. I'm going to tell...
Oh, there's a question in the chat if this is also a peaceful religion.
Yes,
yes,
I'm also playing a peaceful religion here. I'm going to tell Huani to defend with her block skill. I'm going to tell Kim to entangle the Rage Prophet across from him to make sure that he doesn't deal a lot of damage. And Isma, I'm going to inspire to perform the Ancestral Strike ability, hoping that she will target this enemy hunter, who happens to be weak against ancestral skills. So let's see how this goes. Oh yes, I took suggestions for this religion that I'm playing right now, for its name, and among the Abbey office and our Discord channel during the day. So we are called the Black-Eyed Peace. Whoa, that's a rough round. Well, I'm sure we can come back from this. Huani's blocking. She's already pretty hurt. Kim did used the exact ability I did not want him to use. Good job, Huani. Thanks, Huani. You'll remember from the oh god. This is terrible. Luckily, I have also made a save in which I already defeated the elders. So, I will simply load up the save. I wanted to show you guys the moment that I gained the peace commandment.
We've burnt the cake, but luckily, we've already made a cake.
Yes, exactly. We have this other cake.
It's really good.
Yeah, Asarin says, respect your elders, which, yeah, definitely. If this game teaches you anything, Yoni, it's to respect your elders.
Or otherwise you'll get your ass.
Here we are, folks. Go with me on a journey, a flight of fancy, in which I actually managed to be good at this video game and defeat the elders.
We'll get there.
And I have unlocked the peace commandment. So what you'll notice is my little guys have like cute little hats on now, little peace hats. And I can now inspire the tribunal, which is the holy place symbolizing peace. So let's build that. Let's build it over here. Having the peace commandment is going to give us a couple of new things. For one, the peace tenets. If you remember from the last stream, every commandment has 3 tenets. For peace, they are serenity, contracts, and dialogue. Because being a peaceful religion is, in this game, is a lot about establishing rules to make sure that, well, essentially to resolve conflicts through structure, like and rulings and negotiation, instead of brawling basically. And you'll see that in the tribunal as well.
Somebody is asking how the plane is doing.
How's the plane doing, Yoni?
Well, it's not ready to fly.
No wings yet. Nox is teaching some Fergies, which, you know, since we are the Black-Eyed Peace, the worshippers are called Fergies. Nox is teaching some Fergies about the importance of serenity. Serenity being one of the 3 tenets of peace. So how do we feel about serenity, chat? Do we want to affirm the serenity tenets, or do we want to smite Nox and say, no, serenity ain't what it is? We would like to instead promote one of the other tenets of peace. Or we could say nothing at all. This trivial matter is below Kwame's concern, we could say. Our god is called Kwame. Shoutouts to Renowned Explorers. Affirm. Let's affirm. You know, we don't have any peaceful tenets built up yet at this point. So we might as well affirm. Hey, it's our tribunal! So, a fun little thing about the visual development of Godhood. For every commandment, we are sort of looking at evoking a different kind of culture. And in the case of peace, we wanted to evoke something that was a little bit more like, I don't want to say civilized, because it's a bad word, but like Roman-esque, considering that peace religions are very much about rulings and contracts and things like that. And the law. A little event going on here. Elo is teaching some Fergies about the importance of serenity. We're going to affirm serenity again, which is going to, now that we've affirmed it twice, this tenet is actually has become a part of our religious dogma. As you'll see down here in tenets, we now have serenity at level 1. And you actually note that a lot of our disciples are serenity lovers. So what that means is that if we choose to level up this tenet, they will actually profit from that. Huani's going to heal up. Another thing that we're developing right now, actually, so I'm not going to be able to show it off in this build, but I will in the next one, most likely, is religious opinions, where we are both diversifying and making more complex the feelings that your disciples have about your religion. So they might have a multitude of different ideas and opinions about how your religion develops. And you might be able to change those opinions as well, as any good religion does. Zhu and Huani are in a fierce theological debate. Zhu argues serenity is more important than contracts. Huani claims the opposite, being a contract lover, no doubt. I'm going to stick with serenity. So, because we got peace, the peace commandment, we did unlock a new god power. So let's actually see if I can show that off for a minute here. I believe peace's god power is the ability to convert worshippers of other tribes peacefully without the use of a sacrament. And we'll get into that when we go on a new mission. Before we do that, let us affirm serenity one more time and dedicate a statue to the serenity tenet, which will make all our serenity lovers even stronger. Huani and Zhu are in a fierce theological debate. Again, contracts versus serenity. I'm with Zhu. Serenity's the way to go. So now we will select the manifestation of serenity. Now that serenity has become so important in our religion, we can pick a single dedication statue and dedicate that physical shape to the concept of serenity. So what are we thinking, guys and gals and everybody in chat? Will it be the serpent of serenity? Or so one might say, serpentity? Got some people saying sun, sword. It's going up between sun and sword. Ooh, I actually really like Blackfish's idea, which was to call this sword the sheathed sword. So, our religion, since it is a peaceful one, we are so inspired about the concept of serenity that we feel like the physical manifestation of serenity is the sword in its sheath rather than drawn. We know that true serenity is only achieved if the sword remains sheathed. And we will take this sheathed sword and we will adorn our temple. There we go. That's beautiful. And it's actually gives us, and because it is dedicated to serenity. It means that all backgrounds gained from this specific temple, from this holy ground, in the case of this one, it's the prophet, are upgraded with devotion +2. So that's great. That means that all of our disciples that had the prophet background now also gain bonus devotion. Let's get some... Ooh, what's that? Little butterflies floating around. I haven't seen this yet. This looks cool. Some little particle effects that we're working on. I'm gonna go on a mission. Let's see if we can't use our newfound god power. Now, who should we convince of serenity? The lands of lawless rage, of course. Raging isn't gonna get you anywhere. Serenity will. I will send my hit squad that did so well against those elders. Huani's a little low though, so maybe I'll send Elo. No. All these low level disciples. Let's send Zoo. So, here is a trial action. We can do it one time. It is spread the word. This is all pretty work in progress, obviously, like most of the things in this build. Spread the word. Convert followers based on charisma, but drain spirits. Cannot be used after losing. Oh man, I should have thought about this in advance. So this actually cost me serenity, which is a unique resource that we gained because we are a serenity-based peace religion. If you remember from yesterday's stream when we played a war religion, we actually had the unique resource Bloodlust. And so every single commandment has its own unique resource that they need to worry about, and different ways of gaining that resource. In the case of Bloodlust, you can think about it, you gain it from defeating your enemies and bloodying their noses. In the case of Serenity, I believe we actually gain it by this tribunal that we built. +1 Serenity. So let's actually take a moment and gain a little bit more. Meanwhile, Yoni, the people demand a plane update.
All right.
You want to hand it over?
Already, right? There's even like a little cockpit in that thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's it going?
How's it going? So
Wow. Look at that.
here it goes, like straight now.
That's not where it's supposed to go.
But I don't think the pilot actually fits in the cockpit.
Oh, he doesn't.
So
This plane was not made for humans.
it's for brakes.
This plane was made for bricks. Yeah, I'll give that my my signature. Ooh. That plane deserves it.
Thanks, Rick.
No problem, Yoni. A little event going on here. Right now we have to wait for our disciples to slowly make their way over for the event to start. Isma is teaching some Fergies about the importance of dialogue. I feel like smiting's Isma. Affirm, Kriton says. So yeah, like I explained in the stream yesterday, tenets are really cool and they give you a lot of advantages, but you can't just keep affirming all of them. Eventually, your disciples will get confused about what is actually important in your religion. And as your religion levels up, it can also support more tenets at the same time. Serenity contracts. Dialogue and serenity. I'm gonna affirm it. The chat has spoken. That's cute. We're talking about peace. Another fun little thing is that every commandment also has unique little activities that your worshippers start doing. So in the case of peace, some of them will start like reading the law, like they'll have like a little scroll full of rules that they just start reading for fun. or they might engage each other in little like conversations more, or you might see them like hugging each other. Whereas if you have a war religion, you'll often see your worshippers brawling or poking each other with spears or dueling and things like that. We almost have enough serenity to perform that skill I wanted to show you guys. Kim and Michi are in a fierce theological debate. Oh no, we're gonna have to make a choice here. Kim argues serenity is more important than dialogue. Michi claims the opposite. So in order to get to the next level of serenity, we will have to affirm it a bunch of times. We can also say both are wrong, neither is above the other, but that's probably not what we want to do. Serenity wins, dialogue is superior. Dialogue is superior. Level up dialogue. We're going for dialogue. Oh, Kim is shocked. Serenity not as important as Kim thought. So we have generated 5 serenity. So let's go perform that mission against the Lance of Lawless Rage. Send over Michi, Kim, Isma, and Zoo. Hey, I can do it twice now. So performing this action is going to convert some followers based on a disciple's charisma, but that disciple will also lose 50% of their spirit. So we can actually pick here who is going to spread the word. And so late game, this opens up some interesting little tactics. So you might bring a disciple not to perform in the sacrament, but to instead perform some of these actions in between sacraments. For example, the war action, the raid, works a little bit like this one. You pick one disciple and they perform a raid, but what that actually does is it instills fear into the hearts of the disciples in the next sacrament that you perform. So if you are going up against a particularly difficult sacrament, you could actually bring a really intimidating disciple with maybe a lot of like, I believe it's based on might in that case. Not so much to perform in the sacrament, but to perform the raid action twice and make the enemies fear you before you face them in the sacrament. Who should spread the word here? Based on charisma, huh? Kim, not very charismatic. Michi, not so much either. None of my disciples are particularly charismatic. I think the most charismatic one is Michi. So I'm gonna, but that's also my high level hitter. I'm still gonna do it. Michi, spread the word. Michi goes to the village center and speaks about Kwame. Some villagers convert to Fergies, and I welcome my new Fergies. So based on my disciples' charisma, I actually gain 0.2 Fergies. 0.2 Fergies for every point of charisma.
That's horrible.
Hey.
What point 2?
We'll take half your Fergie, please. Don't you ever feel that way about a religion when just 0.2% of you believes in it? We used that action twice, so Michi is all puckered out, her spirit is completely lowered, so we're not going to be using her in the sacrament, but we did gain some new worshippers. Not all of the god actions are used like this. So not all of them are used in the middle of a mission. For example, the greed commandment gives you a holy extortion god ability, which you use in the holy site, and when that happens you show a divine sign, and all your little worshippers will start gathering up their personal belongings and dumping it in the treasury that you've built, which is going to give you a bunch of new resources, but it's also going to like lower some of your greedy disciples' faith. Let's see how the Black Eyed Peas does here, but I have full faith in their abilities. There you go. Not even a challenge. I am way over leveled. And because of that, I'm also not gaining a lot of XP, except for Zoo here, who is only level 1. Maybe I should have sent in some of my newbies actually. But it's too late for that.
It's too late?
It's too late. I already chose to send my super high level, my hit squad that I had trained up to face the elders, and they still failed. Raging Strike should be good. Entangle should be good. Yeah, so Entangle is going to actually target this Godless over here. It's going to give him the Entangled debuff in the middle of the Sacrament. Let's see if Kim lives up to that. So, hey, there comes the Entangle. I can actually show that off. So, before I defeat them, I'll just pause the Sacrament. I showed this off in the first stream that we did. At any time during the Sacrament, you can actually pause the current Sacrament, and you get all the information. So I see my disciple statistics, which ones are being buffed right now. You'll note that all these disciple statistics are green. That's because they are being buffed from having such a high faith. And we can take a look at the Entangled debuff, which, as you see, lowers a disciple's might and cunning for 2 turns. So that's why that is such a good ability to have on your druid if you're facing against enemy rage prophets. Yeah, that's a lot of... yeah, this is pretty late game. I think at this point there isn't much opposition on the map. There might be like 1 or 2 really difficult tribes, but they're going to be on the edges of the map. Let's just go. It's not even gonna worry about it. Just go with the setup that you had. Your knowledge is a lot higher, so you're going to be using the Nightmare skill. There we go. While we are convincing this interpreter of dreams, any questions in the chat maybe about some of the stuff that we've shown off today or yesterday even? Wow. I'm just so good at this game. The sounds of Legos.
Sounds of Legos.
Last encounter here against the Bandit King. I'm going to put Kim up against the Bandit King so that Kim can use his Entangle ability. Isma will use the Ancestral Strike to hopefully take advantage of this Godless's weakness against Ancestral. And Zoo is just gonna have to back us up here. Let's see, some questions. Is there a way to like multi-class commandments? Yes, actually. Every single game that you play, you don't just get to pick one commandment, but you get to pick multiple. We're not entirely sure yet how many we're going to land on, but we are currently thinking that every playthrough of Godhood, you'll get 3 different commandments. And based on, you know, how you actually combine them, you'll create your own unique religion. So you could be a peaceful greed religion, for example, where you focus on contracts and procuring money. You know, they're peaceful, but they care a lot about like putting it down on paper and making cash. So based on that, yeah, you can create a lot of different religions. Are the statues in the back always going to be a cheetah and a bat? That is totally placeholder. We are going to do something different to allow your religion to express your commandment. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, what we're working on right now is for you to be able to dedicate a sacrament to one of your commandments. So you could say, this will be a sacrament for greed, or this will be a sacrament for charity. And we want to take that and give you a lot of visual feedback that is what this... So if you say this sacrament will be for greed, then every time that your disciples perform well, all your little worshippers will maybe throw them money, and your disciples will catch it and become extra happy. So yeah, instead of a jaguar statue, you'll have something a lot more fitting. Will there be a new world challenge?
New world. As in America.
A new world challenge? Or
Yeah,
another
so-
religion comes to challenge yours, since it's based off Mesoamerica? No, not so much. All the religions that you're facing will be Mesoamerican styled religions. In fact, all the adversary deities in the game, not in this build right here, but the ones in the game, will be actual Mesoamerican deities. So you'll face Quetzalcoatl, or maybe the Mayan goddess Cob, goddess of honey and bees, when you go play the game. Can you pick war and war again, or does it have to be different?
No.
It does have to be different. Your as your religion grows, your worshippers start expecting your religion to talk about more facets of life than just, how do we resolve conflicts, peace or war. They'll want to hear what their god has to say about, madness, for example. Should we all go crazy? Maybe, if you're a Cthulhu-like eldritch being. So yeah, you will have to pick multiple commandments. If the stretch goal isn't met, is it safe to assume Beast Walker and Harbinger will show up later as DLC? We'll have to see. It is just, development of video games costs, it costs money. So we'll I will say that all late backers will totally also contribute in unlocking the stretch goal. So there's a good chance that we'll still see the Beastwalker and Harbinger unlocked after the Kickstarter campaign is over. Any plans to change weapons or remove them from heroes so they match religion? No, we want every single disciple class to be very easily recognizable. So if you look at the Harbinger, for example, she's got that big scythe, and she will always have the big scythe, even if you are a peaceful religion, because that's just what the Harbinger is all about. But if you are playing a peaceful religion, there actually is a smaller chance for your disciples to be trained in being a Harbinger. They will probably be more inclined to become a songsmith or a druid. So you'll probably see them a little bit less. Is there a way to customize a lot of followers at the same time? Right now, that's not something that we have planned, although you do get to set your religion color. I will say the amount of disciples I have here is not what we're aiming for in the finished game. We don't want you to have to worry about, how many is this? 8? Yeah, 8 disciples at the same time. 8 might be the maximum amount of disciples you have at any one time. At some point your disciples, not in this build, but they will stop being disciples and become elders, at which point they still have a place in your religion, but you won't have to inspire them and worry about them so much. They will just train other disciples and do their own thing.
Do you have to have one of war or peace?
Yeah, I think I already... No, you... Oh, yeah, I didn't answer that, yes. You don't have to pick war or peace. So every time that you gain a commandment, we give you all the options that are available. So that's going to be war and peace and charity and greed, etc. And it's up to you to decide which one you want. And the one that you pick also excludes its moral opposites. So if I do pick war, that means that I cannot pick peace. But during the entire game, it is totally viable to never pick either war or peace. Serenity or contracts? Serenity. Oh, our big statue got removed because we condemned Serenity that one time. Oh no, a little bug here where the statue or the our Serenity sword doesn't appear, sadly. I think we have played the game a little bit more. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, this build that I'm playing right now is pretty old. We've been developing a lot of new stuff in the meantime. Stuff that we're eager to show you after the Kickstarter campaign is concluded. But I think I'm going to call the stream for now. Wow, Yoni, you have to come over here and show that. This is the sign. This time it wasn't a crash, but a Lego set that stopped the stream.
It could still crash. The plane.
The plane could still crash. Good.
But look,
show it off.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna do this. Hold on.
It's crashing.
Wow. Come on.
Okay. Here
One let. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yoni's very own plane. There it goes. There goes the stream as well. Thank you all so much for lending us your support in case you are a backer of the Kickstarter. If you're not, thank you so much for watching the stream. Be sure to check out the Kickstarter. We are in our final 14 hours. Let's see how close we can get to the stretch goal. And after that, we'll have to trust our late backers to see if we can get there and add the Beastwalker and Harbinger to the game. It's going to be incredibly cool. We are going to be doing another stream after we get some sleep for the final 2 hours of the Kickstarter campaign. So in 12 hours, Yoni, we'll be here doing this all over again.
Yeah.
But in that stream, we aren't going to play the game. Instead, we're going to take all the developers of Abbey games that happen to be in the office, and we're going to sit down. We're going to invite people one by one to come in, and we're just going to talk about the development of the game, how the idea of Godhood came to be, and it's going to be an opportunity for you to ask even more questions, like I answered a couple just now. In case you can't make the stream, but you would still like to ask a question, just go over to the Godhood Kickstarter page right now, and you can actually fill in a little questionnaire. And tomorrow, when we do our little stream, we'll answer that question. So you can check the stream out later and have your question answered there. Do we want to talk a little bit about our streaming plans for after the Kickstarter?
We can a little bit, but we'll do an update on it tomorrow anyway. So we'll tell all of you tomorrow what we're planning in terms of updates from next week. So from the moment the Kickstarter is over. But in case you want to spoil a little bit, then I would say just go ahead, right?
I'm gonna spoil just a little bit. A bunch of backers at the €80 or higher tiers are actually able to play alpha builds of Godhood every time that we do a new alpha test. And we were thinking that every time that we put out a new alpha build for backers to play and give us feedback on, we could also do a little stream where we play the new build and we talk about the new features that were added and the things that have undergone changes or cool new mechanics. And can I say the moon thing? I just said the moon thing. You can read more about this in the update tomorrow, but we are going to release new alpha builds every full moon. So expect a stream every full moon up until early access and maybe after as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We plan on doing that until.
So that's going to be really cool. I hope you guys join us for those streams in the future. Thank you so much for checking this one out and for checking out Godhood. Let's end the Kickstarter on a high note, and we'll see you all later. Thank you all so much. This was Rick. I'm here with Yoni. We are Abbey Games, and this is Godhood, wishing you good night or day.
Goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.